Glenavon has just lost 1-0 to Larne here at Mornview Park. Barney Mckeown has kindly agreed to speak to us. Barney, your reflections on the game?
It's disappointing. I think, for large parts of the game we were probably the better team. Ultimately, a mistake at the back from myself probably cost us. We probably had 2 or 3 chances mixed in there that probably should have been scored, but ultimately it comes down to a lack of judgment from myself, and then they managed to nick one. But I think on the balance of things, we were probably the more dominant side, probably had the better chances. But as I said, we never really took them today, so we're disappointed.
That's another game where we've lost 1-0 and played well in. How frustrating is that?
Yeah, it's annoying because the boys are knocking their pan in. We're playing some really nice stuff, but we don't want to be a team that gets pats on the back for performing well but not winning. Ultimately, the most important thing is winning games, and we're sort of falling into a wee bit of a rut over the last number of games that we're playing well and we're probably coming out of it thinking we're the better team, but we don't have any points to show for it. So yeah, it's frustrating.
What was your assessment of the team's first half performance?
First half we were really good. I thought we looked solid defensively, and going forward we looked like our attackers had that freedom to sort of pick up their own spaces that they felt were the right spaces, and we caused them a lot of bother. We had one cleared off the line early enough into the first half, so if that goes in, it's maybe a different game. But yeah, I think first half we were good.
And Michael O'Connor had the ball in the net from a header. Do you know if the linesman got the decision right?
Look, it's a difficult one. There's a lot of bodies in there. I haven't seen it back yet. It's hard to believe he is offside. I think they've probably dropped quite early before the ball's played, and from my position it didn't look like he was offside, but as I said, I haven't seen it back, so I don't want to make a comment on that there.
What was Paddy's message to the players at half time?
It was more about doing the same things and probably speeding it up a wee bit. Yeah, look, we performed well in the first half, so it was about not letting ourselves go flat in the second half, which has happened in the last number of weeks, and we didn't do that. We certainly looked like the team that was going to get that goal and get the win, but as I said, it's a judgment, or it's an error at the back from myself, and they've managed to get themselves in the lead, and we probably had a couple of chances after that there to maybe get ourselves back into the game, but unfortunately we never took them.
Were you disappointed that we didn't score before they took the lead?
Yeah, look, I think on the balance of things we had some great chances. We had 2 cleared off the line in the match, so it's disappointing because you think if you can manage to just bundle that over the line whatever way necessary, then we're in a lot more of a comfortable position. But look, as I said, we probably have to be a bit more ruthless in both boxes, because that's the difference today. We weren't ruthless enough in their box, and then an error from myself that leads to their goal.
And what happened for the Larne goal?
Look, I probably should have just cleared the ball with my left foot. I've tried to just knock it out of play with my right foot and didn't connect with it, and he's managed to get on the other side of me and pass it to their attacker who was left with an empty net. And Tag actually manages to get a hand to it, which he's done quite well, but the ball just rolls over the line then off the post.
So today Paddy decided to start with 3 central defenders again. What was the thinking behind that?
I think because of Linfield we were quite good for the majority of the match. We were playing on the front foot, and to be fair to Jordan McAniff, he's a quality footballer, and he sort of picked up them half spaces, so it allowed maybe myself or Harry Lynch to free ourselves to try and put him under pressure, and then we still had 2 centre halves there to deal with their 2 attackers. So look, it probably worked well on the main. It would be a lot better if I was coming here and saying after we'd won the game that it worked really well, but I think on the balance of things it gave us a bit of security, and then it allows Len and DT to push even further forward, and everybody knows how dangerous they can be whenever they're high up the pitch with their pace and with their quality. So yeah, I think it suits us at times to sort of give them 2 boys the freedom to go as high as they would like and sort of match up against their wing backs and 1v1 them.
You were playing in the centre of defence with Harry Murphy and Harry Lynch, 2 younger players. How do you think they coped?
They were fantastic. I think over the majority of the match, the 3 of us, we managed them quite well. That was probably thanks to the players in front of us sort of closing them their spaces that they wanted to play in, and they sort of resorted to sort of trying to get the ball in behind us, and I think we dealt with that there well, apart from the one occasion which they managed to score from. So if we can manage to get that there out of our games individually and collectively, then we'll be a much stronger defence.
So there are 5 games left post split. What's the mood going into those fixtures?
I think the mood is let's go and win them all. I I think each of the teams that are in the bottom half we've beaten this season, so why not take that mentality that we can beat them all and see where we end up.
And is there any sense in which the mood is somewhat downbeat after today?
I don't think so. I don't think we can allow ourselves to do that there. I think over the last number of weeks we've been performing well, but we just haven't been getting the results, and we need to nip that in the bud as soon as possible and become a team that wins games of football again, which we were, with the turn of the new year. Just after Christmas we looked like we weren't going to lose games. At the minute we look a wee bit naive and nervy, so we need to get that out of our game, but I don't think there's any sort of negativity coming out of it. The reality is we've probably come up against a Larne side that for large parts you would think would be a better team than us, and I think over the course of the game we were the better team, so we've got to take the positive from that there. But as I said, we need to nip them errors that have been costing us over the last number of weeks.
It looks as if Portadown will be our next opponent. What are your thoughts going into that game?
Portadown's had a fantastic season. We've beat them twice already this year, so we're going in with the belief, and we know how much it means to the fans and the people of the club that we win that game, so we'll be going in there full of confidence, full of belief that we can get a result.
Barney, thanks for your time and all the best for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much, George.